Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm not going to tell y'all, I thought this thing was live and it wasn't all this time. I'm sitting for talking, and the whole time it wasn't. So let me, let me start talking and everything. Sorry, because I see I'm actually 5 minutes late. I have been talking for about 5 minutes thinking I was on. Hi, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. At Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. Thank you for joining me. It's my witchy review, and we're talking about this book right here. It's called Year of the Magical Dragon by Virginia Chandler. It's basically, it says it's a seasonal journey of magic and ritual. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is a journey I'm on. So I'll have feature more books in this topic because I'm learning. I'm learning more about this and application of it. Magical, to basically studying dragon magic. So let's get into that because I know that's probably really out there. Hi, hello, Karen B. It's out there. For some people, this idea dragons are not real is up there with unicorns and all that sort of stuff. But if we start talking about what's not real, then we have to start talking about fairies, the fae, brownies, and spirits, and ancestors, and even a god possibly not being real. So it's a thin line. I like your headband. I'm excited for this. I've started that journey too. Oh, good. Hi, gemstones. Thank you, Amazon. Anyway, very cheap. You can get them on Amazon. They're like dollars, couple dollars cheap. Anyway, I want to get into this for sure. What I want to say is this. I've made a commitment to living a magical life. That's sort of my goal for 2022, goal in general, but with a focus on it in 2022, and or resolution, if you will. And part of me living a magical life um, has to do with studying and learning things. That thank you for believing in unicorns. Thank you. Is studying more about magic and opening myself up to different ideas and different ways and different ideology that maybe I'm not accustomed to. Um, and since I'm on this, you'll probably notice, by the way, as time, especially the first quarter of the year, a lot of my videos are kind of going to be kind of, making you question a lot of the stuff. And maybe culturally speaking, or race, or, whatever that you've been presented with, or that's the thing you're supposed to study. That's where you're supposed to be at. You're supposed to be looking this path. This is what we do, and I know again, this is something that might be out there for somebody else, but stay with me. You might find that maybe it's not so out there. And a lot of when we talk about dragon magic, this is like primordial. It's ancient. It's older than old, that sort of stuff. So I made my little note sheet about this, but I don't want it's not very thick. It's not a lot, but what's in here is helpful. So I'm reading this, and I'm reading it in the order that makes sense, and I'll get into that in a moment. But I want to jump right into something. So when you first go into it, they have a forward and all that sort of stuff. I'm gonna get to the contents. Yeah. So, they give you some recipes for dragon oil and incense recipes. I'm really looking forward to making that. There's a forward, and then, of course, an introduction. You're the magical dragon. Honestly, I skipped the forward. And let me tell you why. When I read books, maybe it's just me, I'm so excited to get into the book, I don't read the forward. Usually, once I'm done reading the book, if I'm really just still wanting more, I go back and read that at the end. I never read that in the beginning of a book. Very rarely do I read the forward. It could be by someone who I think is like a legit awesome writer or something like that, and they wrote the forward for someone else's book. I still don't read it. I don't know what my issue is. It's just a thing I've been doing. I have been doing this since college. Like when you have to read a book in college. And when I was in college, I majored in computer science when I first went in, and then I switched my major to be an English major. That is who I am. Anyway, so I did a lot of reading. I had to, get into reading a lot of books and studying and all that sort of stuff besides writing. But anyway, moving on. Tangent alert. Um, Chapter one is working with energy, dragon energy. Okay, and then it's 9 chapters altogether, and it breaks it out. And I don't want to give too much away, but I do want to give you something. It breaks it out by season. Remember, we're talking about a seasonal journey of magic and ritual with dragon energy. So it breaks it out for Samhain, winter solstice, Imbolc, vernal equinox, Beltane, Letha, Lughnasadh, and autumnal equinox. And it just goes like that. Now, that's up my alley. I'm a witch who works with the wheel of the year. This makes sense to me. So keep that in mind. So let me get to, they start off in a section that really resonates with me, working with elements. So they mentioned throughout the course of the upcoming Wheel of the Year, the Seeker of Dragons is encouraged to use these elements to cast and create magical circles, to consecrate magical tools, and to bless sacred space. Hi, Dylan. And they talk about what those, the 5 sacred elements are: earth, fire, water, air, and spirit. And they just go on to, they give you a chart and everything and break that down. But I want to go on. It says it is recommended that elemental dragons be invited to every dragon communion for their wisdom, power, and protection. Specific calls to elemental dragons are provided below, and they give elemental calls. I don't know. Some of this stuff kind of gave me chills when I was reading it. I have not actually did any of this yet. I just got the book this week, and I've read it, so I'm not ready yet. Probably next week, and I may run through some things. Like, do obviously I want to. It's really something I'm doing, so I'll get myself used to it doing it on my own, and I may film maybe doing some of this so you guys can kind of get an idea of maybe what the author intended when they're doing all this stuff. But anyway, let me get into it. So one of the elements is, I'll do the fire dragon invocation. It says, "O ancient and mighty dragons of fire, spirits of the guardian dragons, watchers of the sacred flame, I, Mika, ask you to join this sacred space and lend your wisdom, power, and protection to I who do call to you now with sacred love and sacred trust." Anyway, I love those words. So they have one for air, fire, water, and earth, and they go on. But isn't that beautiful? I don't know. It's something about that. Just I would have written that, but I love that. I love that so much. So anyway, that's the invocation for elemental calls. And they break down about sacred space, sacred tools, and then about this cleansing incense. And then they give you a recipe again for that consecration oil, which is not difficult. It's frankincense oil, dragon's blood, patchouli, sandalwood. Oh, these are oils, water. And then you breathe 3 breaths, your breath, 3 breaths upon the mixed oil. So you would breathe on it. Oh, I see. That's the kind of magic I can get into. I love that. Anyway, and it just goes on. It kind of just helps you set up. It's very Wicca-esque. Not gonna lie, a little bit, but for a lot of us, we got our start with Wicca. That was what we got started with. That's what brought us into this whole thing. And some of us are very much still Wiccan, or Wiccan. I was gonna say practitioners, but I guess that's the same, right? And that's fine. It's more than fine. Like, I'm not, coming for that. I know for me, I started with Wicca, but not but, and I still was called to do other things. I felt called to go in different directions. I don't want to cancel that out. I don't like when people talk too bad about Wicca. Um, I don't like that. Anyway, um, the other thing I wanted to talk about and highlight from this book. So that's just in the beginning. I don't want to give a lot away. The first chapter is a lot of information to kind of get you set up. Everything else is based on the season. But they talk about casting a dragon circle. For some of us who are really into circle casting, you'll enjoy this. You notice behind me on the floor, if I'm pointing correctly, I have you see that little, next to my cable wire, I have that little painting thing I made. That's my earth symbol. And I have they're all over my room in different directions. So that's something I decided I want to permanently keep in place. And what for me that does is keep this space sacred. It's this permeable circle where, it's protective. Yes, energy can come in and out, but only certain types, sort of like a filter, if that makes any sense. Anyway, in this room, because I do my work in this room, my all kinds of work, and I do my other work over there, witchy work over there. I feel like I'm one of the only ones that didn't start out in Wicca. Oh, you didn't? I understand. No, I get it. No, there's a whole lot. I'm actually spoiling. There's a video I'm going to be doing. I'm posting this week, where I'm going to talk about, for some of us who didn't start with Wicca but started with other things, kind of breaking down a little bit more of um, maybe going against the grain of, depending on your culture, your group, your racial group or ethnicity or whatever. Sometimes we're directed to go a certain path spiritually, where it doesn't fit you for whatever reason, and kind of challenging that. So anyway, I'm going to be doing a video talking about that. A lot of us start at a certain point, and it's not that it was a bad start or that you regret starting on that path, but you got there, you got enough out of it to realize maybe you wanted to go in another direction, or you felt called, but you needed to start somewhere. And some of us stay on our original path. Again, I'm not coming at anybody if you stayed on your original path. That's not a bad thing. Um, but the book goes on to say each of the rituals in this guide should begin with the creation of a magical circle. Well, I have one up, but they're going to give you instructions on how to do that. They call it like start in the earth quadrant of your space. Take a physical representation of the earth element, sand or salt. Walk clockwise around the entire circle of sacred space while casting the element using your dominant hand. And then they go on to give directions. I started with ceremonial magic. Karen B says, okay, yeah, I tried to find resources that weren't a part of a religion. That's good. Initially, I mean, if I'm being honest, before Wicca, that's kind of, I started with that. And I started with trying to understand, for me, from a cultural perspective, from my ancestral and elder cultural perspective. I was interested in understanding, what did they do? What, before we were colonized in Africa. Now, at this point, I don't know where Africa is a continent. So sometimes, we all just say Africa, but it's like, which country? I didn't know, because why would I didn't know? Um, but I had an idea because I understand how the slave trade worked and where my people were taken from. But my goal was to just understand what did they do, so I can maybe get on that, because I was like, I want to do what I was focused on, what my people, would do. Um, so that's where I technically almost started. First, I just started piecing together things. I felt like, the universe was putting people in my path, and I was getting like bits and pieces, dribbles of information, but eventually it became something more. And I was starting to build on it. The first thing I think that triggered me was where I was intentionally doing this magic thing, doing this other, spirituality, to alternative spirituality, the occult, is when I worked for this company where it was all Black owned, and the the person, one of the owners, made it very known to me, at least, that he was used to be Christian, but he wasn't. And he never spoke negatively about Christianity. He actually made a point to tell me that he was not going to do that. But once you learn the truth, that's kind of once you learn the truth, you understand. And he said, once I learned, I could not go back to that. And he went on. Now, from my understanding, I don't know if he was like initiated. He never positioned that. He never talked like that to me. So I don't know if that was his deal. And unfortunately, he was killed. That's a whole other thing. But anyway, he was murdered. And but he was a loving guy. He was really an exceptional person. He stood out. He was a loving type of person. He was the type of man, because I was, listen, men in my life, sometimes, you meet strange men, you never know what their thing is. ultimately have their own agenda. So you kind of, close off when men are, like, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. You don't know what they're about to do. He was older than me. So I was like, wait, what? But he was cool. He wasn't like that at all. He really was trying to kind of put me on, get me to think. I had a headache and he got me to understand. And I know this sounds crazy, but don't just take a pill for your headache. Like, understand what's causing the headache. That's a signal your body is sending you. Answer the signal. Don't just treat the symptom. Now, this seems probably smart now. Of course, I'm in my 40s. It makes sense. But I was in my 20s then. It did not make sense. I didn't think like that. He helped me. Like, that was the first one of those little nuggets of information that said, think. Like, think for yourself. Don't just consume and don't think. Dylan, what are you saying here? Have you ever heard of DJ Conway? She has books about dragon magic. The Dragon Magic community loves her books. Next, yes, next. Coming next. One of the aspects of the occult witchcraft I started out was crystals. There you go. Some people will argue that that's not witchcraft or occult. I'm gonna just say it, the love and light, the new age, the law of attraction esque folk, like those people who they kind of just focus on that. Um, they talk about crystals a lot and using those, but they don't want to be called witches. I found this out because I've made the mistake of thinking we're all on the same team, playing for the same team, and no, they don't. They kind of, to me, are the ones where they got one foot a little bit in the Judeo-Christian realm, and over here, you know what I mean? I call them the love and light crew. I'm sorry, don't get mad. I don't mean no harm. Y'all see my little warmer? This is a candle warmer. I use it to keep my tea warm. Michael's is like less than $10. They have fancy ones that are digital. This is plugged in. I got a little switch I flip and it works just fine. And sometimes I actually use it for candles. So, yeah, about the circles. Let me get back to that. I wanted to say, because I wanted to really talk about that circle thing. Casting the circles, because right now I just feel like in my practice, circle casting is kind of important. And I know, again, I just listen to my intuition and signs and symbols that come along. And this is a great example. So I purchased some candles, some spelled candles, and those spelled candles, when I got the instructions for it, I talked about it here, I think on one of my last Saturday on my Witchy review. I haven't used them yet. I'm waiting. Again, listening to my intuition to when to use them. I thought I would use them that day, and I didn't. I can't explain it. I just know when it's right to use it. But they come with instructions, and I realized I didn't have printed instructions. So I finally printed them out. And they talked about a little bit like, creating a circle of sacred space, something along those lines. And I was like, there you go. And I'm reading this, it's talking about circle casting. And there was something else that I'm studying as well, another book. And they were also talking about casting a circle. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of, circle casting that's coming up in my life right now. So I'm thinking I'm on the right path here where it's like, protect your energy, cast a circle. Tell the truth, shame the devil. I love that saying. Hello. Is it Lalu? Am I saying it right? What, Lalu? Lalu. It's Lalu, isn't it? Anyway, I find it weird that New Age love light people are kind of repulsed by witchcraft being called witches. Isn't that weird? Oh my God. Or the ones I see, honestly, in like outside life, my everyday physical world, no. I don't see a lot of that, but I do see that online a lot. Instagram for sure. I see a lot of that. People are posting, oh, Crystal, oh, it's not about witchcraft. I don't practice witchcraft, or in TikTok also in that world. I was a day late to the Conjure sale, so I'm only getting one candle. Oh, Dylan, okay. Oh yeah, they had to buy two get one free. She obviously cycles it around. So I got that. And I also read the instructions because when I did the video, I hadn't read the instructions last week when I did my live. So I actually read through the whole thing, even for the candles I did, because she has conjured candles and spelled candles. So obviously I know what I'm talking about now. And she also, which I'm glad I waited. Well, I wouldn't have done it because my intuition said don't light all the candles at one time. Yes, you said it right. Thank you. Okay. Hey, um, she said don't light all the candles at the same time. So I'm not going to light all the candles at the same time. My initial thought was to do that, like not like one, but I was going to say something and then like one, say something and then like the other. So like spread it out. And then on top of that, again, I don't know, I love synchronicity when things all match up. I had already had an intention of doing some altar work out in the front of my house. Now that I'm in this room, I used to be in my big living room, dining room. I have a big open space, living room, dining room, open floor plan. So now that I'm in this space, in this room, I was like, okay, well, what I can do is I want to set up a table, like a buffet table in my dining area, because I don't have anything over there. And I've been thinking about this. So it's going to be shelving underneath because my book situation is out of control. Y'all can imagine. I'll have books in there too. But like a little tray and just set up, another working altar out there. Um, so think if you want money to come in a home or you're working on bit or whatever the thing is, big manifesting projects. Yes, it's good to have it where you are, but in the center of the home, me as a cottage witch, that resonates with me. So that's kind of the center. So I was thinking of having maybe one of the other candles out there, the willpower one. I was thinking of having that out there. The beauty one I was going to keep in my bedroom, and the other one that I have, I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, I was going to put it in here. But I would stagger when I would work these spells. So I think for me, I'll start with the willpower because I think I need that part, and then I'll bring in the it's Bella. I think it's called Bella, where you want to see the beauty, whether it's in yourself or you want others to see the beauty in something. So anyway, that's something I'm doing. Um, what's the other one? What did Dylan, you said? I remember the big YouTuber Joey Graceffa started. Is it Graceffa? Started a crystal jewelry business like 7 years ago, and I thought of commenting. You know, you're a witch, right? But I didn't. You sound like me. That's something I. If y'all only knew how many times I grab my phone and I start typing, and I'm like, no, 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 it's backspace, backspace. Let me get out of here. Let me stop. Um, there are a lot, and I don't want to be like a troll, but it's my first instinct. Like, you're a witch. Stop, stop. You're a witch. Anyway, but I don't. I'm gonna buy the willpower candle. There you go. If you really think about it, I think for a lot of us, if you've already accepted that you're a witch, or you've accepted that you can manipulate energy, because some people are funny with the word witch. If you can accept that you can manipulate energy, let's just say that, right? All you need is the willpower to carry it out. All you need is that extra confidence. To me, that's a powerful candle right there. A spelled candle. I haven't lit it yet, but y'all know what I'm talking about. My intention is that it's going to work. And because I am someone who can manipulate energy, I believe I can make it work. So it all goes hand in hand, right? But you just need the willpower to carry through. I know that for myself. I was like, I am capable. Like, I sometimes think about that. And we all are. I mean, you do this for yourself. You're like, I know I'm capable of this stuff. Like, I can see it. But for some reason, when you get up in the morning, you just get caught up with just carrying through the day, whether it's work, you get done work, you get into this rut, you get into this monotony where it's not really creative. It's more just you're producing, producing, producing. But if you're not creatively living, and part of magic, you have to be creative. There has to be creativity in there as well. Bruja, Mambo, Witch, it's all the occult. But some, yeah, are we going to start? I see that video coming this week. Yeah, don't even, but some may have cultural taboos associated with witch. Yes, yes. I'll try because I don't want to offend a whole group of people. I don't want to become viral that way. Where I come across being very offensive, and I'm like walking through landmines in the conversation talking about this. With some people, I just lay it out there and I don't care how it comes across. And most of these people are not practicing witches, they're just interested from the sidelines with the whole magical lifestyle thing. And I'm a little bit more open with them on my thoughts with this because I don't have to watch my words. But yeah, just watch you'll see the video coming up this week. I'm not gonna say nothing else. I need willpower to start using my planner and starting my witchcraft practice back up and to start learning to draw. Yeah, I can see that. I don't feel that you can step into your full power when you have the shame wrapped in the concept of who you are, which the shame comes from fear of what, blah, blah, blah. Only you can kind of fill in that blank. I spent so much time, I spent a lot of time, and I will be revisiting that subject on fear and witchcraft. You'll notice I talk a lot, especially, I want to say a year ago, a lot of that, because it's a hang up for a lot of people. Um, Fear, shame, they go hand in hand, fear of people finding out that they're practicing and what they're going to say and they're going to tell you is make believe. And it's like, okay, unless you rolling with a bunch of atheists, like for real atheists, who is like, none of it's real. I mean, I can see how you might be intimidated by that. I'll be honest, because they're kind of on board with it's all fake. What are you talking about? You just make believe. That might, now, honestly, an atheist, and that would be an interesting conversation. I don't know any atheists personally and that are willing to have a dialogue about this, because for them it's like, why am I talking about something that's not real? I mean, you have more I don't want an argumentative person to talk to, someone who just wants to fight and you never really get a consensus. But someone who is like really open for a dialogue, I would love to have that kind of conversation about my path and my personal experiences with spirituality and witchcraft and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. I love your headpiece that you wrote. Thank you, Amazon. Amazon, and they're really cheap too. All right, let me get back to this part. So, talked about the casting a dragon circle, and then they were saying after the elements have been cast, you should invite the elemental dragons to join your space, and they list out those invocations again for the elements. I like that that's here again. So I don't have to go back to the other chapter and it's like, oh, you use those invocations for casting a circle. Yeah, it would be an interesting conversation, right? I know. And again, not somebody who's just like, I don't want to say argumentative. That's not the right word. Like combative. You know what I mean? Because there's some people who are like, I can't handle that. Respectful also. Like, don't be mean to me because I won't be mean to you. The other thing is, which I thought was very interesting, is they talk about the world dragon. Now, I'm going to try to pronounce this. Jormungandr. I don't know if you can see it. I highlighted there. Jormungandr. Right there. Yeah. So it says, Jormungandr is a Midgard sea serpent, but he is not confined to the element of water. And but the water is where he dwells and where he emerges. And it goes on to say his scales are as hard as the mountains, his venom scalds like fire, the water is his domain, and when he emerges from the sea, his body fills the sky. So that's interesting to kind of visualize, but it goes more into the esoteric about that. Like, for instance, the phrase, the all is one, is also part of the energy of the world serpent. And we all are familiar with that, right? Now, I'm currently working on my studies, understanding more about Hecate. I know people pronounce that differently. That's how I say it. Anyway, the Norse world serpent, where the different aspects of her, and this is kind of one of them. So this is like an overlap for me to read about this. So anyway, and if you have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know I've always had an interest, or talked about my interest in Norse mythology. Um, so they go on to talk about the Norse tale of Ragnar Lothbrok and his winning of the daughter of it's a whole thing, of this King Harold, and they give a story because they talk about a lot of what we learn from dragon magic is from stories and tales, old stories. But it goes into that whole story. I won't go into the whole thing, but it's very interesting. Yeah, it would be an interesting. Oh, I thought I was seeing something different. um, then they're talking about meeting a guardian dragon through meditation. Now, this is it's like a whole page. It's both these pages, and then the next page talks about this meditation that you would go into, and it goes on. So the thing about the meditation is they just tell you, hey, maybe record yourself, and then you can't read it and try to meditate it. So record yourself reading it out loud, and then actually meditate. So this is something I'm looking forward to doing, recording my voice and reading, reading it out, and the instructions and things like this, because it sounds very beautiful. And I'm very good at that. I can do that. I can get in my mind and create a scene, and so this will be a good thing for me. And then the other thing, they have journal entries. Of course, I'm going to advocate for keeping a magical journal, but from that meditation experience, they tell you, to record the runes, because there's at one point where it's Norse, it's based in Norse mythology, so, or Norse. I should I say mythology? I'll come back to that. Anyway, but record the runes or whatever you saw, such as symbols upon the stone, which leads to the cavern of crystal, scale, and stone. That's the whole thing. And what type of lighting device did you use to light the cavern? And describe your vision of the green guardian dragon. So you would write about that. The other night in my dream, I saw a phoenix, but it was about the size of a raven, but it wasn't on fire. Its feathers were red, orange, and yellow. I got its attention and petted it. Ooh, I had an interesting dream last night too. Not that I don't really go into like animals in my dream. I don't know if my subconscious. I don't know. I'm not really an animal person, so maybe that's why. I I've had pets. I've had a dog. I think the most I would have is a dog. I'm not a cat person. I'm not. I'm not. And I have said this, I don't think cats very much like me. Um, I'm usually hissed at. I'm usually like, it's the way they come at me. I'm just saying, and I have had people who own cats. Oh, no, no, that's not what it is. Okay. I know what I feel, and I know when you leave the room and it's just me and this cat, I know how this cat is coming at me. So no, I don't know, which makes me wonder, am I really a dog person? And they sense that about me. They're like, you're not one of us. I think some people do align with like ancient cat energy. I don't know. I don't know. Just like birds. Birds don't bother me. I have a friend of mine who will probably die if she's in a room with a bird. Birds don't bother me. Snakes don't bother me. Um, yes, hiss that. Hit more than once. How different cats hissing at me for no reason? I'm not like standing there, shaking and afraid. But even if I'm afraid, why would the cat hiss at me? I'm a dog person, plus I'm allergic to cats. Yeah, they also bring out my allergies. So look, I don't know. I think these cats just know I'm not really, beat for them. I think they get that about me, and they're like, you know what? Some cats are a little bit more, in your face with it, and was like, I don't like you either. So, I just think they were just telling me it's mutual. Clearly, I can't prove it, but that's what I think. Okay. Uh, cats ward off negative energy. What bad juju you got going on? You know what? Energy, no energy. And you know what they say? Oh, she's can ward off energy too. She don't need me, so I don't like her. Because cats, they kind of prima donnas, and they think they run the show. They have very main character energy. And I think that they realize that I come with that same level of energy. And they're like, oh, I don't like her. Good. I don't like you either. That's fine. We good. We good. You see me, I see you. We all know where we stand with this. I am not this crazy with cats. I'm not. I'm just really like low key, just not really a cat person. No. Energy is about protect. Oh, best set. Energy is about protection. Oh, okay. I've owned a cat. I've in twice in my life. With all this talk, I've owned cats. When I was young, about 3 or 4, I was playing around our apple tree, and a rattlesnake chased me, and my dad cut off his head with oh my god, cut off his head with a shovel. Well, that must have stayed with you. That must stay with me. I had Now, I should probably add, I remember being a little kid having nightmares of being just mauled by a cat, and it was my grandma's neighbor's cat. So might have something to do with all this too. That's true. They saw another lioness. Cats have main character energy. Yes, they do have main character. You know they do. Even cats who are more chill than others, they still think it's about them. Hello, Garfield. Anyway, so the book then goes into this whole thing about the will turns. It says, now, so after you do the meditation, the journal entries, it's like now that you have met a guardian dragon, that's why you got to write down your guardian dragon. Take some time, reflect upon that experience, and then basically that's kind of wrapping up chapter one. All this was in chapter one, and it leads you to say, okay, they give you a celestial event chart, and that chart has the spots and chapter correspondences for the wheel walk or the wheel of the year, right? And you find where you are on the chart. So right now, I looked at this chart and I said, okay, so celestial event, winter solstice, shorter day of the year, Yule. And then the next one is exact midpoint between winter solstice and spring equinox. I went with the winter solstice because I was closer to that than I am to the exact midpoint of winter. So that's February. So, I'm still in the Yule area. So I went to chapter 3, Ice Dragons. Where was that at? Yeah. That wasn't it. Hold on. I thought I had this marked. Yeah, I did. But maybe I didn't. Why am I struggling with this? Where's the beginning of this chapter? Jeez. Oh, it's right here. I'm skipping over it with my fingers. Anyway, so I went here because this is where I'm at. So this is where we all are if you're in this part of the country. And they talk about the lore of the ice dragons. Um, oh, wait, for the Norse, ice was actually considered one of the sacred elements. That was another thing. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Now, I'm in Arizona, but it did get chilly here. Like, my heat is on. Not on, but it's set to be on if it gets cold. Last night, it got really chilly. These past, I want to say since around Christmas time or right after Christmas, it has gotten like in the 30s here in Arizona. So, I have the heat on at night. So I feel like I'm in this. Basically, it's cold enough I can think of ice. Since I've lived here in Arizona my whole life, I have a couple more stories about its wonderful creatures. Oh, thank you. The realm of the ice dragon is hard stone, tall mountains, and vast caverns. This really resonated with me because I've been venturing out into the mountains here in Arizona. Not so much hiking because I've got to build up my stamina for that. Just being honest, I'm just not there. But it's something I'm building up. But anyway, yeah. So when I read hard stone, tall mountains, and vast caverns, I don't know, it kind of resonated with me. Their tales contain doorways to learning balance, the value of sacrifice, and a gift of rebirth. This is the Ice Dragons. Wow, this sounds like a very interesting book. It is. It is, Karen B. It is. It's very interesting. Um, I'm in. I'm full. I'm like all in, by the way, with this book. Anyway, so, but I love that. Learn. So this is the time about balance. I talked about that. For me, it's all about balance right now. The value of sacrifice. Now, I'm funny with the word sacrifice, but the way I've personalized this is sacrificing some of the things, like I have an overall goal, a vision for myself and for all different aspects of my life, right? And it's going to take some initiative and some work, hence that willpower candle. It's going to take, drive and determination and being consistent, which means my time, my energy, money, um, those are sacrifices for the greater goal. So that's how I saw it. And then the gift of rebirth, changing things up, changing my dynamic, changing my views. Maybe even like today, I'm going to work on my physical space, just kind of just changing the energy around um, to add to the rebirth, to overall birth this other vision I see for myself. Um, Anyway, so I really internalized this when I read that. I can't wait to hear more about your dragon magic journey. I can't wait to get more into it. So thank you. I'll be happy to share. So embrace the beauty of the snow and the unique feel of the ice. I have memories of when I grew up in Jersey, so I can, and as an adult, I can tap into that. So that's fine. Through story, ritual, and meditation, the seeker will be introduced to the ice dragon. I appreciate that. I love that approach. I love a good story, so that makes sense. It resonates with me. Ritual, I love meditation. And that's how you're introduced to the ice dragon. So, anyway, all this got me, but it starts with a tale about Fafnir, Fafnir. So I'll say again, Fafnir. I think that's Fafnir or Fafnir, ice dragon. So it talks about this tale of Sigurd, the hero, and Fafnir, the dragon, appears to be the traditional Western European dragon slaying tale, and yet it's really not. So I read this lore. It's a story. It's very interesting. I don't want to give it all away. It kind of, you kind of got it. I would have to read the whole thing, but it's an interesting story. Oh, I love a good story. Y'all don't understand. That's why I like writing, but I love a good story. And it goes in and just talks about this whole story about this Sigurd character, and basically how he inadvertently ends up eating a dragon's heart. But and it breaks down what all that means, and it's very fascinating and it's very interesting. And I was able to take things again to personalize and to really think on when I read this. Like it really stayed with me. This feels exciting. I'm gonna get that book as soon as I can. It is exciting. You pronounced it right. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I did. Okay. And then it just goes on to talk about like from that tale. Remember, they're building from lore, and tales, and stories, and you find something out of it. And they kind of give you like it's not so abstract and esoteric that you're like hunting around for what am I supposed to get from this. No, they tell you kind of what to focus on, but you can find your own information within these tales as well. And then they just expand on it. So like about like sacred sites and locations based on that story. Um, so that's what the rest of sort of the chapter goes into. And then once you kind of wrap up that section, communing with the ice dragons on the winter solstice. Obviously, it's too late because that's already happened, but it gives information on how to do that and how to make this ice. It says ice dragon ritual oil and incense. So I talked about that a moment ago, and the incense that you would make as well. The incense, if you were curious, is dragon's blood resin, patchouli, copal, and meth. um, and then they give the communion ritual. There's two, a simple ice dragon communion ritual. I read that. That seems very doable. Then there's the full ice dragon communal ritual, which is doable, but it's going to take work. Prepare yourself, get yourself together with that. It's like multiple pages to do that ritual, but I'm into that, so that makes sense for me. And then they give a meditation for meeting an ice dragon through meditation. Again, that's another one. So that was your guardian dragon you did in chapter 1. And now you're going to work on meeting an ice dragon through meditation. Because this is the season that you're in. You could get dragon oracle cards too. I will. First of all, yes, I will. Don't. Yes, I was looking for them. I didn't see any I like. If you don't think I already was there, I was already searching, but it's not that I didn't find anything. I wasn't really, they didn't make me feel like, oh, buy me, buy me. I didn't feel called to buy those. The things that I saw. Did I so just find something with just a dragon sort of motif on it? I didn't see anything. If you have suggestions, let me know, please. Maybe it's something I skipped, but I would love to have some of those to go with this, of course. But and this is not a big book. Like it's not a lot, but it's packed. It's packed. It's packed with good information. Anyway, so they give the whole, meditation. It sounded like you said meth is in it. It says mint, mint. Yeah, then you're really tripping. You're really going on a journey. It changes everything, Karen B. Once we get meth to the. Now, can one have effects from just smelling the cooking meth, burning meth? Do you have, well, isn't that the point? Do they smoke meth or do you ingest it? I don't know a lot about meth. I don't know. I assumed it was like something you smoke. So did right? I mean, not that everybody else knows about it, but you hear things. I see documentaries and stuff like that. I don't know. It's not a pill, no, because they cook it and they do stuff. So you smoke it. You smoke it. Anyway, we'll see. Moving on. I'll be Google. If anything ever happened to me, my Google searches is just going to confuse people. Did she really Google how to how to ingest meth? Yeah, I did. Anyway, if you don't think I'm not going to Google that later just to understand it, you're crazy. Anyway, and then I see all these sections in with the will turns. And like with the Guardian, now that you've met the spirit of the ice dragon, take the time between now and the next Sabbat to deeply reflect upon that experience. And they just give some instructions and journal entries as well. Like describe the young hunter, like based on the meditation that was sitting by the fire. What did you decide to do with the key? For those who follow Hecate, interesting relation. Describe your vision of the ice dragon. So it's a whole thing. I'm going to order mythology for magical life, stories, rituals, and reflections to inspire your craft. Oh, that sounds like a good title. I think you'll like it. It tells myths and then gives spells, meditation, etc. to practice. I will look for that because that's up my alley. I'm pretty sure you can use it in many ways. Thank you, Karen. I don't know. Say no to drugs, kids and adults. I agree. And Jim, so you think I'm funny? I think I'm funny too. I don't know. My mind goes in different places. Y'all see this. Anyway, and that wraps up for this section. So then, of course, it's going to break down. So I finished reading that. So realistically, I wanted to read that section, but the doing part, I feel like inbox will be the right place to begin for me. So obviously I'll read it in advance. Um, I haven't actually, I'm purposely trying to like take my time with this. I wanted to give you guys enough. That's just based on what I've read so far. So I've read all of the beginning part to get me ready. And then I've read the season that, I'm technically still in. So now I'm going to start reading the Imbok and the Hearth Dragons, which I'm very excited about. And this one will be the one where I'll go ahead and actually do what they're said to do here. So, of course, I'm going to start a whole other book because I have to have another, journal or grimoire to write all this stuff in. Of course, how could I just use what I already have? I would have to get another one. Um, and then, of course, once I have that, I can't wait to do videos and show you about my new dragon grimoire that I've created for Dragon Book of Shadows or whatever I'm going to call it as I go through this journey. And of course, I have to get more stickers and all kinds of crafting supplies to put in it so I can, and print out these ornate, beautiful drawings and photos of dragons. Of course, because it's kind of asking me to do it. It didn't say it, but I can read between the lines. That's what they want me to do. So that's going to be a whole thing. So anyway, yeah. So this is happening next. Hearth's your thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Hearth dragons are cool. Thanks, Jimstones. Um, yeah, definitely, 100%, definitely. I'm gonna be getting that probably today because I happen to have gotten a voucher for Michael's for $15 for already spending money there. So they gave me a voucher. Make sure if you don't already sign up for Michael's, by the way, you should. Whatever their customer appreciation membership thing they have, because they send you vouchers. Before I used to like average the $5 ones at least monthly, but now because over the holidays I guess I bought more stuff and I've gotten into painting more. So I'm like buying more art supplies, painting and stuff like that. So I'm spending more money. So they gave me $15. So that can buy me a nice new journal and some pens and stuff. Yeah, you have to create a new book of shadows Thank you for telling me that because I just needed one person to agree. I know there are journals with dragons on the cover, but do they sell them at Michael's with my $15 voucher that I is burning a hole in my digital pocket, my digital wallet right now? But yeah, so this book, they do have an appendix to kind of move on for that, where they break down magical dragons, which think about it, you kind of want something like that. You're going to want an appendix. So they break it out by area. So like Albania, Egypt, China, Greece, Scandinavia, Wales. I have a connection to Wales, y'all, for my ancestry. So this is not like coming from no place with me where I'm like fascinated with that. But yeah, so I'm trying to think. I want to do, yeah, there is a conclusion. The journey begins anew. So after you're done with everything, or whenever you want, you can go ahead and read this. So this is not the kind of book. I mean, you can read cover to cover, but I think the purpose is for you to go in the season you are, and then kind of work from there. At least that's how I'm approaching it, and it makes sense to me to do it that way. But yeah, this is it. This little book, The Year of the Magical Dragon, has fascinated me and captured me. So I will still get other books as I'm actually going through this, because obviously the seasons will continue. We're talking a year. I will still get other books, of course, as well, to kind of support this and just get a general idea. But this is enough framework for me to kind of just work and get started. I'm somebody, I'm okay with reading, but I know me, I need to read. Practice, put it in practice. I need to do. Um, what are y'all saying here? Oh, Michaels, you love Michaels. Dylan, yeah. Gemstone says that's interesting. I'm in the UK. That's right. And Dylan says Greece, yes, Greece, yes, yes. So they talk about that in here. So this is very interesting stuff. Like the Wales, I'll start with the Red Dragon of Britain, Battle Dragon. The White Saxon Dragon is also a battle dragon. And then they talk about dragons from modern literature too. By the way, they talk about that. And then the Greece, what are those dragons? Oh, Typhon, Ancient and Mighty Fire Dragon. Ladon, 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 Guardian of Sacred Site and Object, and Lernernian Hydra, Guardian to the Underworld. I'm looking forward to reading a little more about that. Pytho, Guardian of Sacred Site and Object. Actually, there's a lot for Greece. And then Draco, Medea's Dragons, Prime Mover Dragons, and Colchian, Guardian of Sacred Site and Object. So there you go. You were interested. And Scandinavia's Beowulf's Dragon, Guardian Dragon. The Fafnir, the one I was reading about, Guardian Dragon. So this is fascinating stuff. I don't know. I don't know how people like turn their noses up at certain things because it's different from what they know. This is fascinating to me just to learn, just to understand a little bit more about. Um, I don't know. You know how I always approach it? If you are a student of history, like I love history, I love reading about history. You should visit Glastonbury in the UK. On my to do, my trip that I'm really wanting to go to, that I think I've already shared it, is I want to go to Ireland. Um, this is not like a new thing. Like I've always, as someone who read a lot of books growing up, romance novels as a little kid, yes, Harlequin romance as a teenager. I got into, not little kid, but teenager. And then I kind of built from there, and they would have like these stories of, castles and all that sort of stuff. And Scotland is also a place I'd like to go as well. But and just understanding, just reading all that sort of stuff and learning about it as a kid, and then getting my ancestry DNA done and realizing that's always been a part of my ethnicity as well, at least ancestrally speaking. And yeah, so and this overall call and pull to just want to see that place. There's a lot of places I want to see. I want to come to the UK. I want to visit. I actually know someone, and she's a New York girl originally. And I don't know, I'm a Jersey girl originally, so I feel like we would vibe once I visit. But when I go, I will find her and I will say anywhere she is because I know her. And she met a man and got married, moved to the UK. There's a lot of fairy hills in Ireland, or exactly the whole thing with the fae. So this is something I'm really, I am working on manifesting. Like that's one of my serious manifesting goals. Mexico and then Ireland, like those two things I'd like to go to in 2022. I really want to make this happen for myself. Um, and outside of that, I'd love other like to kind of on those trips to maybe go to other places as well if I can, if that's possible. But yeah, I want to go there. I want to go there. I want to go um, to Greece. I would like to see Greece. Oh, I would love to, and of course, at some point, I want to go to Rome, and I will take my lactate pills and just tour Italy and the cheeses. I don't care. I'm lactose intolerant, but I will just indulge. I really want to I want to do eat, pray, love, basically. I want to do that, and obviously, there's one place in Africa I want to go first, Botswana. Do y'all know a book? It was a series Jill Scott started in number one ladies detective agencies. Well, I read all the books before this show. It was on HBO years ago. It only had one season, something about the director dying. And, without the director, I think the vision was lost. So they didn't even go for a season two. Beautiful. The colors, the story, beautiful stories. Number one ladies detective agency. That's the name of the book. It's actually the author, I believe, is Scottish. Actually, white guy, older white guy. He writes those books, and he writes so beautifully. Anyway, he writes about this woman who lives in Botswana, and she starts this detective agency, and it's a little bit of I don't want to say spirituality, a little bit of woo woo in it because like she clearly has this intuitive gift. He doesn't really go on that, but she does, and she's divinely guided. But anyway, the series is beautiful. Reading that and the way he wrote about Botswana, modern day, it's not like set in the olden times or anything. Modern day Botswana. Um, I want to go. I want to see it. So then, like, when they came out with the series on HBO, I was like, and they were on location. They basically built this little town for, shooting it. And I'm like, I have got to see this. I want to be there. I want to immerse myself in this. Anyway, I'm in love with a place I've never been, and I want to go to Botswana. The Fae are very good magical allies, especially with unbinding and crossing work. Yes. My husband is from South Africa. Oh, really? Just as well. um, Look, and also South Africa, by the way, also. I want to stay at a beautiful resort on the beach. I want to get a little bit of what those royals go to, when they go over, because a lot of people, in the UK and things like that, vacation there, and I want a little bit of that too. I want to go to one of these beautiful resorts and be pampered and in the African coast, and I want to experience that as well. So yes, it's another thing that I'd like to do. But Barcelona first. I want to see it, smell it, touch it, be in it. I want to immerse myself a little bit. I remember hearing about that. I was in middle school. I think, oh my God, I was an adult lady married with kids, but cool. um, yeah, I think he's still writing the series. I'm not sure. I kind of fell off a little bit. I've read almost, I mean, I could pick it back up again. I'm not that far behind in the series where if he's still writing, I'm probably three books. Like I always read each one that came out, and it's so innocent and sweet. But there's so many little lessons in that book. I love it. And when I think they captured it so well on the series, HBO, that so I can understand why the show couldn't go on without the director, because I think this guy really carried out the vision from the books. And just the scene, man, the colors and just the beauty of if you ever see it, like just it's so colorful and it's beautiful to watch and the different people. And they even had forgive me, I don't know what region he was really speaking in his natural dialect. It's that sound, that language at one of these regions in these countries near Botswana, where it's like a clicking sound. We talk about it's like that. Like he was really talking like that on one of the episodes. So just interesting stuff. Um, Jill Scott's speaking voice and how she conveys language in simple conversation is so poetic and eloquent to me. It is perfect person to play that role, by the way. Only thing I this is just me being nitpicky because as someone you can hear how involved I am with the books. Like it stayed with me for years. Where the first place I want to go in Africa is Botswana. Not even where I'm regionally supposedly connected. There. Zosa, thank you for that. That clicking sound, yes. Thank you, Gemstones. Um, but yeah, the book obviously left an imprint on my mind. It's just that I just thought if this is a true Botswanian, I hope that's the right way you say it, African woman, I would think she would be darker toned. And Jill Scott is not, but I let that go. I let it go. That was my only issue because I loved her in the role and I believed her in the role. She made sense to me as she carried on. It's like when it first came on, it's kind of what I thought. I just felt like, wouldn't she actually be dark skinned? But that was my only beef, my only issue. Yeah, the language. Those okay, that's what it is. Yeah, that click. Like, isn't that fascinating? It's like so you're not just like they are communicating. Everybody else knows. You know, people who speak that they know what it is. That language. Anyway, I found that fascinating. And I like in the books how they talk. I know I'm going on a tangent about this dang old book series, but like one of the things that pulled me in is like it's like the main character Mama Ramatswa. I can't. I read it, but it's hard. I don't know how to pronounce it. If y'all know what I mean. But anyway, so the main character, she is the number one lady detective. Detective. She at one of the book series, like she has to go solve something, and she has to go and out in the bush. You know. Also, I discovered I love red bush tea because of this book series. Till this day, I love me some red bush tea. Anyway, but she talked about having to go out and I remember where she was like, you know, I it was time for her to go to someone's home and she stood outside the doorway, not quite at the door, but like I guess like before she even got to the threshold and just would say Coco, Coco. And I was like, I started doing that. I don't know, these things fascinate me. I love just understanding culture. I like that. So anyway, so because of that, I would do that a lot sometimes. Even sometimes now, I want to say that, and people don't know what the heck you're talking about. I'm just saying, I was like, Coco, Coco, hey. um, you know, colorism is real in the media. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm back. I had to make lunch for my mom. Oh, thanks for coming back, Bill. My husband can say some words and say, "Oh, that must be fascinating to hear that." Like, and he can kind of translate what that means. I'm still pissed off about the Nina Simone biopic. I never watched it, so I couldn't get pissed off. Sometimes I just protect your energy. Don't even expose myself. What is she talking about? Yeah, wait, what is who talking about? I'm sorry, I missed that part. I was talking so much, I don't even remember what you're referring to. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, anyway, that whole thing. That's why I want to go to Botswana, and there's a couple other places. You know, where I don't. If I never go, I don't care. And I know it sounds crazy. Japan. If I went, like if you said, "Oh, you know, here's a trip to Japan, we're going." Oh, I would love it. I would have fascinated. You know, I would go. But like on my own, I'm not thinking about going. Um, China, not really. If I don't ever go. Now, if you say South Korea, I'm interested because of my budding interest in K-pop, specifically BTS. My daughter has basically told me, "Mom, mommy, you're an army. Like you're part of the army. You are in." The only thing I have not done is invest in like actual CDs, albums, merchandise, and things like that. I feel like I'm probably close. She, on the other hand, has her whole vibe. Like she started with BTS and she still loves BTS, but not. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, this is South Korean um, or K-pop, Korean pop music. Although, how do you not know who BTS is at this point? Yes, they are a boy group. Yes, these are a bunch of young men in their 20s. Yes, I'm in my 40s. And yes, I love their music and I listen to it quite often. Um, I don't actually love a lot of the more recent stuff um, because I don't. But when I am working on feeling good, for instance, prime example, because it actually works in my witchcraft, when I need to kind of align my energy and um, a little bit of grounding, but just sort of kind of bring everything to a neutral space. I listen to Map of the Soul. That's one of their albums. I think that's from early 2020. I listen to that. I listen to that often, and from almost start to end, and it just that the music just takes me on a journey. Some lyrics are in English, but mostly it's not. But that's okay. I can get the vibe from the music and it just transports me and I just feel it I feel something. But isn't that what art is anyway? I don't care what the language is, that's the point. And it's magic, by the way. Um, that these young men with these words that I don't fully understand can elicit emotion from me and I can use that to actually align my energy. So I don't know, that's kind of fascinating to me. So I love BTS, by the way. And if they come to LA, because I'm in Arizona, I could drive over there. If they come to LA or if they, oh my God, if they come to Phoenix, I'll be dropping some coin to actually see them in concert. And then I will have my daughter come with me because I will not be this lady alone at this concert with all these screaming young girls. So I will take a youngish girl, my daughter, with me, and we will go. But outside of that, yeah, I'm a fan of BTS, big time. So I would go to South Korea, obviously, for that. And also, I think they have a lot of well, they have a lot of stuff that I would like not BTS, but like South Korea, like different merchandise and things like that. For understand, like paper crafting stuff. That's the reason I might want to go to Japan though, because I understand they have um, if you're into this stuff, a lot of the paper crafting stuff, stickers and all that kind of stuff, journals, that stuff. Plus, they are beautiful men too. Yes, Karen B, they are very beautiful men. Oh my gosh, don't get me started on that. Anyway, that's the whole thing. The makeup, all of that. You gotta, you know, a lot of us are very confused because we see these men with makeup on and the makeup is flawless. And you're like, wait, what's happening here? No, it's a thing. It's a culture thing. Just get into it. Appreciate the beauty of the way they look. Have you heard of the K-pop girl group 2NE1? No, Twice. I know is my daughter's got me on with Twice, and there's another one, I can't remember it, but not that one. My favorite song by them is "I Am the Best." The group broke up in 2017, I think. Oh no, no, I didn't. But I'm getting into Twice. It's a little poppy, a little too like upbeat sometimes. So I listen to some. Um, you know what I think? The reason BTS really hits for me is because I come from an era of the boy groups that would do the singing and the rapping, and they do a lot of that. I come from that time, New Edition, and they were clearly taking a page out of their book. So if you're wondering what's the appeal, that the music, the bass line, the beats, the dancing, it's very reminiscent to a time that I grew up in, or Boys to Men, In Sync. It's not just the black women, In Sync, all them. Like I was a huge In Sync fan as an adult woman. Like I was really into it. My daughter even is familiar with Britney Spears and NSYNC and all that because I was so into it and I played that music. I felt like I made her very well-rounded musically speaking. Um, Her bio dad was really into like heavy metal sometimes and rock and like I remember at the time one of his favorites was Nine Inch Nails. So like she'll hear certain things and like it feels right to her. Even my son, even though he's, doesn't remember all of that, but we kind of bonded on that kind of stuff. We like that kind of stuff. And he exposed me to even more rock. music and things like that. So anyway, that helped me. And then I like all types of genre. I even like country. So don't even get me started. I went through a whole country phase where I kind of was only exclusively listening to country music. It's not that I didn't like anything else. I just kind of just wanted this thing. I get like that. Hyper focused on one thing. Have you heard of the? Oh, that was the same thing you were saying. Sorry, I thought it was a different thing that popped up. Um, Anyway, now that we have gone from dragons to K-pop, I will end it here. I'll wrap this up here. I think we really talked about a lot on this one today. This was very interesting. But if you are even remotely interested and you are someone who practices or you would like to practice by the will of the year, this can also be a way to get into that, get the feel for that as well. I love rock, metal, new metal, pop, dance, etc. There you go. Um, and I still love my. It's hard to like rap right now or hip hop. It's not rap; it's hip hop. Um, it's hard for me to get into it right now. I love me some Meg. I like Meg's story. I like her background. I like her Aquarian energy. Like I love that about her. I like how bold and sexy. I like that she's a stallion. I love that. Um, so I listened to her. I listened to her recent thing that her like mixtape type album. Like I listened to that while I'm cleaning the house. That's going on. You know, I'm into all that, but it's hard right now. It was super fun. It was. But if you are getting into like you're interested, even on the sidelines, like that sounds kind of interesting. I think this is something you can get on board with. It's not hard. It doesn't feel hard. And you're learning through stories and lore and tales. So if you're into that anyway, you can get on board with this. And you can take, you see how I was telling you how I personalized and I was able to kind of take away messaging. This is just how you learn. It's one of those things. It's not like you have to set your altar up this way. You have to, say these words this way. It's not like that. At least this book isn't presenting it that way. So highly recommend if you're interested, even just a little bit, you would find value in this book. And I'll have more on Dragon Magic, and I will be getting my Dragon Magic Book of Shadows very soon. So please look for those videos as well, because that is definitely coming for sure. All right, I'm out of here. I'm going to wrap this up, finish my tea, and move on with my day. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and all that other stuff. And again, just thanks for watching. Meg is kind of underwhelming, but a lot of artists are nowadays. Oh, I know. Take it for what it is. You're not my savior. You're just entertaining me for however long I listen to the song. I don't get that serious with anybody. That way I'm never really disappointed. I don't take them but so seriously. All right, now I'm out of here. All right, bye. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.